The Chicago White Sox lost to the Arizona Diamondbacks on Monday afternoon by a score of 7-3, but it wasn't the outcome that was important. It was the second White Sox player in as many days getting hurt. Eloy Jiménez and Yoán Moncada are the latest to fall under the day-to-day prognosis. Hey, Reynaldo Lopez should be relied upon heavily this season, most likely in high-leverage situations, and Andrew Benintendi will be relied upon to elevate the defense and bring some pop from the left side. Both could have a big impact on 2023.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTV. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, welcome back to Locked On White Sox. We are officially in spring, counting down the days until opening day with our White Sox in Houston. Appreciate you continuing to pass this podcast along to other White Sox fans in your life. Get those questions and comments in for our Wednesday mailbag, lockedonsox@gmail.com. Our Chicago White Sox have a spring training record of 9-9. Fittingly, of course, with a few ties in there. Something that, I just didn't want to have to get to this. Nobody wanted to have to be talking about this. And you saw what happened to Yoán Moncada at the World Baseball Classic. We're going to get to that. Of course, Andrew Vaughn and even some updates on Aaron Bummer. But on Monday, it was Eloy Jiménez, and there's a lot of Sox fans that are saying, now it's starting to feel like a White Sox spring training. Eloy Jiménez on Monday against the Diamondbacks left the game after 2 innings. He walked back to the White Sox facility with trainer James Kruk after running to first. White Sox announced that Eloy Jiménez left the game with a right calf cramping. He's day to day. So I guess that's positive news. I was hoping that he could complete an entire camp injury-free, but it's been a long camp, and he played in the World Baseball Classic, didn't take any days off after returning from that Dominican Republic defeat. I'm just making excuses right now. I don't like it. I have these visions of what we've experienced over the last several spring trainings, and we were going pretty good for a while, and then this one popped up, and Andrew Vaughn's back, which we'll get to. But I guess it could be worse. Not ideal, but something to be paying attention to. See what that day to day is actually like for Jimenez. Now, on Sunday, as I'm sure you were watching or you saw the replay or found the replay or someone texted you in a panic, I was watching it live as I was recording my weekly White Sox podcast, Good Guys Talk Back, and I just had to stop. I mean, my heart sank. Yoán Moncada was running out to short left field. He was playing third base, collided with the left fielder for Team Cuba. Yoán Moncada had no business making that catch or attempting it, really. I mean, that was the left fielder's ball all the way. However, from what we're being told, it is so loud in these stadiums for these World Baseball Classic games. Moncada might not had an idea of where his left fielder was at. Left fielder could have been calling him off, and Moncada just never heard. It was an ugly scene. But apparently Moncada walked off the field under his own power, shaken up. He was removed from the game. So after colliding with a teammate in Sunday's USA-Cuba game, he was evaluated for a concussion and a rib injury. On Monday, White Sox manager Pedro Grifol provided a positive update after texting with Yoán Moncada. It's just a bruise, a contusion in the rib area, Grifol told media in Arizona. Daryl Van Scoven had this tweet. Grifol said it's minor. He's good. If he were here and it meant something, he would play today, Grifol said. That's promising. Robert and Moncada flying in from the World Baseball Classic on Tuesday will rejoin the team on Wednesday. Yoán Moncada is day to day. Again, that's positive news after seeing what we all saw. Who knows? You know, it could have been a torn knee, a twisted ankle, or, you know, last year, Danny Mendick was having quite a little season for himself. And he had an issue down the left field line with Adam Hazley. Now he walked off. He needed some help, but he did walk off the field and he was done for the season. So it's one thing, you know, like, okay, it's good that he's walking off. That's a positive sign, but that's not always the case. I mean, we've seen Robert walk off gingerly, but he ended up, you know, tearing, you know, a groin or a hamstring, whatever it was, a couple of years ago. So I just want this spring training to end and we can get to Houston and then to Chicago. But Eloy Jimenez and Yoán Moncada right now, day to day. Just when I was getting so excited about the World Baseball Classic, and I was saying, you know, if I was a Mets fan or an Astros fan, I'd probably be feeling differently. And now we got this issue with Yoán Moncada. Aaron Bummer, we need to rely on Aaron Bummer. And I don't know how much we're going to be able to rely at the beginning of the season, but he's been dealing with this lat strain. Bummer threw a live bullpen on March 18th and called it a good day for him with another live bullpen or two on the horizon before he gets into game action. He is expected to be ready by opening day. And that would be huge if we can have a dangerous Aaron Bummer with that lefty arm. We're right heavy at this moment, so we need some of those effective lefties. And Andrew Vaughn, you know, still dealing with this lower back tightness. He took grounders in full infield on March 19th, but has stayed away from swinging at this point after 31 Cactus League at-bats this spring. Vaughn still feels like he's in a good place and would be in the lineup if those were regular season games. So promising again with Vaughn, and you wonder maybe it's just wear and tear. You know, it's been a busy, hectic spring, but he was dealing with that back issue at the end of last season. And if it's something that's going to continue to linger, you know, we've seen other players throughout, you know, White Sox history, namely Joe Creedy, and not sure how much of the back issue he was dealing with. And then he went on and played beyond beyond the White Sox scope. And his career really got cut short because of back issues. Now, Andrew Vaughn, young guy, I do think playing first base opposed to all the wear and tear that his body went through playing the outfield, I think it's going to be different, but you know, not happy hearing about this lower back situation. So keep eyes on that. Monday's game, not a lot going on for the White Sox at all. They lost to the Diamondbacks 7-3. Franklin German was on the mound. He started. He went 1 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. So far in spring training for German, 8 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, and they all came on Monday. Only 3 walks compared to 9 strikeouts, and he's got an ERA this spring of 4.32. He's got an outside chance, maybe. Definitely an outside chance of breaking with the club in the bullpen. Sox went with Shaw, Santos, Cronin, Ramsey, Navarro, and Perez. Navarro, he was that possible dark horse to maybe make the club. He went an inning, gave up 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. I haven't been really impressed with Navarro. Now, Brian Shaw, on the other hand, he pitched on Monday. So far this spring for Shaw, and he's got a lot of innings on that arm. Well-traveled, Brian Shaw. 7 1/3 innings so far this spring. 5 hits, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, 0 earned runs so far for Shaw. Sox pitching went through it with 11 hits, issued 7 runs, 6 walks, and 7 strikeouts. White Sox offense, 3 runs, 10 hits, 2 extra base hits. Sox were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Sox did not draw a walk in the game and struck out 9 times. They scored all their runs in the 4th inning, and my man, Hanser Alberto, he was playing some third base on Monday. He was 2 for 2 with a 3-run home run. It was his 2nd of the spring, so he supplied all of the offense for the White Sox. In 11 games, he is hitting .483. He is really tearing it up. He is doing everything he possibly can to make this team. Adam Hazley, he continues to hit. He was 3 for 3 on Monday. Benintendi and Sheets had base hits. Maybe the White Sox truly will use closer by committee approach, but hey, Reynaldo Lopez has my vote for the 9th inning. And Andrew Benintendi has been quietly getting back to form. More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Hey, these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Then add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. So maybe, it really will be closer by committee. And, they've been saying that a lot, Grifol and Ethan Katz. And, are they just, trying to maybe, red herring perhaps out there to the rest of the AL Central so they're not preparing for one specific pitcher? It could be some gamesmanship. I don't know. There's been a lot said about, matchups and, maybe who's got the hot hand and, who's been feeling good lately. But look, if they're going to go with one guy, Reynaldo Lopez has my vote, and he does not have a major league save on his resume, but he has been looking good. Like what I saw at the end of last year. It just looks like he's got his confidence and he's got some velocity. That's for sure. There was an article on whitesox.com by Jack McGrudger, and this is what Jack had to say. Lopez pitched to a 1.87 ERA over his final 42 appearances last season with 47 strikeouts and only 5 walks in 43 1/3 innings. Opponents batted 188 against him in that span with 1 home run. It was more mental than anything, Lopez said of the relief role. Be ready every day instead of once every 5 days. It took a while to get used to. The first 2 months were not good, but after that, everything was clicking. Bullpen roles have not been defined, but manager Pedro Grifol has indicated that usage will be determined by game situations, not a particular inning designation. He's a special talent, and he's also a special kid, said Grifol, who strategized against Lopez as the Royals bench coach, of course. He likes the moment. He likes the stage. He's a good athlete, fields his position well, great feet. I've been watching him pitch for a while now. I think he is special. That is what I thought from the other side. There is really not much to not like. I am looking forward to watching him pitch all year long. Like a lot of high leverage specialists, Lopez said his adrenaline rises in those situations. Grifol knows that I am not scared, said Lopez, who was 6-4 with a 2.76 ERA and a career high 61 games in 2022. I can throw every pitch in every count as a starter. It is not the same. Lopez so far this spring, it's his 7th spring training in his career. 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 0 walks, and 7 strikeouts. He's got a 2.57 ERA. Love the 0 walk stat line there, especially for a guy that we're going to hopefully be relying on in high leverage situations. You don't want to bring in a guy and he starts walking hitters. That is the absolute last thing you want. It drives everybody crazy. So that line right there is very encouraging. How about Andrew Benintendi? He's had a quiet spring. A really good article by Daryl Van Scoven of the Chicago Sun-Times, kind of shedding some light on what Benintendi's been going through in Glendale, Arizona. Benintendi combined to hit a career high 304, 373, 399 slash line with 23 doubles in 2022 and was named to his first All-Star team. He slashed 318, 388, 428 against right-handers. Benintendi's defense has come as advertised since 2017. He leads all left fielders with 31 defensive runs saved, according to Fangraphs, and his swing is coming around despite what his slash line of 208, 367, 333 hitting line in 12 games might suggest to box score readers like myself. It feels pretty good, Benintendi said this spring, more than others. I'm not really focused on results as much as feel. I'm recognizing pitches, not getting fooled too many times. My swing feels pretty good right now. I'm just trying to backspin balls and hit line drives, Benintendi said. That was perfect. I've been working on trying to pull the ball to the right side in the air. There was perfect backspin, so it was good to see. Talking about his first home run of spring training just happened recently. Benintendi hit 20 home runs for the Red Sox when he finished second to Aaron Judge in American League Rookie of the Year voting in 2017, but he had only 5 for the Royals in 93 games and Yankees 33 games. The spacious dimensions of Kauffman Stadium were at play, and the hitter-friendly dimensions of Guaranteed Rate Field should be in a favorable way in play. But it didn't happen for our White Sox hitters last season. I am hoping that is just quite the anomaly, and we've got several guys that can get at least to 20 home runs. Benintendi continued. A lot of those long flyouts will turn into doubles and home runs without even trying to change anything. Talking about Guaranteed Rate Field. Nothing changes. My approach stays the same, Benintendi said. I wish hitting third automatically got me 35 home runs, but that's not going to happen. Nothing changes. Line drives. Grifol, a former hitting coach, was the Royals bench coach, of course, last season. Benintendi is low on his list of concerns right now. He knows his swing. He knows the way he feels. Grifol said the other day, if he tells me he's in a good spot, then he's in a good spot. The only thing I do is sometimes I'll challenge him a little bit. I'll play him 4 days in a row with one rain date, and he'll never say, no, I don't want to play. He's a professional. He's been around the block a few times. Hey, it's nice to have an actual left fielder playing left field this year, isn't it? Around this time last year, I was going to the ward office to get my White Sox parking passes, handing out to guests and so forth, stickers for the car, all that stuff while you're living in the district. And the Sox made the trade for A.J. Pollock. Obvious excitement there. It didn't seem like, we had a lot of faith in Craig Kimbrell anymore. And AJ Pollock was a proven outfielder. I'm much more confident with having Andrew Benintendi on this team. I think the lefty bat is going to have a lot of success at 35th and Shields this season. And, I thought he'd maybe be penciled in at number 2. You've been seeing him get a lot of action in the 3 spot. Maybe that's because, it's been a depleted roster with the World Baseball Classic. So we'll see, as opening day gets closer here, maybe where he's at in some of those final lineups. The World Baseball Classic wraps up on Tuesday. And how about how the last Comiskey doc wrapped up? More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. The Built Bar Madness Bracket is here. We know you have a favorite bar or puff, and now it's your time to make it count. Go to builtmarchmadness.com to vote for your favorites. I'll be voting for that double chocolate puff, of course. So go out and support your favorite Built bar or puff. And when you vote for your favorite bar or puff, you will be entered into a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Not only that, but one Locked On fan will win a 12-month subscription of Built to have Built's best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to your door. If you have not already, you have got to try Built. Built, the best protein bar ever. They are so amazing, you won't think they're good for you. They are high in protein, low in sugar, and covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. Run to builtmarchmadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff and pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day in March, so hop on and support your pick. Have you watched the part 3 last Comiskey? Maybe you watched it a couple times. Maybe you're still trying to catch up. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I watched it a few days ago, and I'll probably go back and watch it again. Just a fantastic 3-part documentary, and part 3 did a really nice job of tying everything together. And it was just sad. I didn't want it to end. I watched it all the way through, every last credit, just hoping maybe there was some more footage, a few more photos, another video, but absolutely loved how Matt Flesh and his brother, they gave it some silence towards the end. They let that last game play out. You heard the organ, you heard the crowd, you might have heard Hawk, but there wasn't a lot of narration involved. They just let that last game, that last out happen, and you were just able to sit with that. And then just watching, players coming back on the field, waving goodbye, fans' reactions. But, some of the meat of that, dealing with the bullpen, love that. I was such a Bobby Thigpen guy. I mean, who wasn't back in that era? He drove you crazy sometimes, but then he had seasons like 1990, electric. They just seemed like a bunch of goofballs that just got together. They were just the perfect, personalities. So such a great job by Matt Flesh and his team. And again, check it out if you haven't. Pass it along, the last Comiskey doc. The World Baseball Finals are on Tuesday. USA. Hopefully everybody stays healthy this time. Tim Anderson's been getting a lot of publicity, and some of it has become because he's playing second base. Is there something happening where he might be able to bring that to the South side? A lot of folks are talking about maybe there could be a position switch. Maybe Colson Montgomery comes up next year, perhaps. I don't know if that's too much of a rush, and he's playing shortstop, and Anderson moves to second. Elvis Andrus is only going to be around for a year. That means Lenine Sosa, Romy Gonzalez, Popeye Rodriguez. What's going to happen to some of these guys? Will they ever see a White Sox uniform? But high praise for Tim Anderson playing second base. This is what Grifol had to say. He felt comfortable, again, of Anderson, who hit that RBI triple against Canada in that 12-1 win last week. We feel comfortable with him feeling comfortable. So that's a great line right there. The Sox like what they see and they're happy. And if he's enjoying himself, I don't know, maybe he's provided himself, just another thing that I can potentially do when it comes to contract time. Yeah, I'm known for shortstop. I can hit, one of the best hitters in all of baseball. I can also play second for you too. Anderson, who played in only 79 games for the White Sox last season, he's got to stay healthy because of injuries, has received rave reviews from U.S. teammates for his zest as well as his production. He's playing with that edge that I talked about, Grifol said. I've seen it from the other side with the Royals. That's great for me to see. I just want him healthy. That's all. Amen to that. Let's wrap up this World Baseball Classic. Go USA. And hopefully, everybody just comes back to Glendale healthy and we can get to Houston with a healthy, solid team. Also, keep an eye out for a Locked On AL Central Roundtable episode. It happened last year around this time, and it's a great opportunity where I sit down with all of the other hosts from, Locked On Royals, Tigers, Guardians, Twins, and we just, we talk AL Central baseball and who are some of the favorites, not only team, but also position. And it was a great time last year. Looking forward to that opportunity this year. And hopefully we'll be able to edit that up in the near future. And that could be an episode option here for Locked On White Sox. I really appreciate you making this podcast a part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast, obviously, everywhere you find your podcast. We're on Twitter at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and get your questions in for Wednesday's mailbag, lockedonsox@gmail.com. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. Now, for your second listen, check out the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Win Your League by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy draft strategies. Find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On the next episode, I'll continue to bring you the latest happenings from Glendale, Arizona, as the White Sox inch closer to opening day. Appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.